Well, let's turn to federal politics now, and it's just over a week now until we all head to the polls. Joining us now in the studio is Resources Minister Josh Frydenberg. Josh Frydenberg, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Good morning,
Let's just start with those arrests in the Philippines. What's the Australian government going to be doing to ensure and find out all the information about what's going on there?
Well, the Department of Foreign Affairs has normal procedures to provide consular assistance to Australians who are in trouble overseas, and I'm sure that is being done now in the best possible way for this individual.
Minister, we saw Tony Abbott appear on Sky News last night speaking about a number of issues. One was around same-sex marriage, another was around him not denying that he might want to try a return to the front bench if the coalition does return to power. What are your thoughts around that? Have you had any sense that Tony Abbott might be making a push? There is a word on the defence portfolio.
Well, we have a fantastic Defence Minister in Marise Payne. In fact, the first female to ever hold that portfolio, and I think she's doing a wonderful job. As for issues as to who gets what ministry, that's well beyond my pay grade. That's an issue for the Prime Minister, and let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a big battle in the next few days ahead of the 2nd of July election. It's going to be very close. Every vote's going to count, and there's going to be a lot of close contests in different parts of the country. Speaking
of that big battle, where do you think the closest contests are? Where are your major concerns?
Oh, look, there are close contests in every state, in Victoria, in South Australia and Western Australia, but clearly for the Labor Party to get into government, they're going to need big swings in Queensland and New South Wales. And my sense, speaking to many people across the country, travelling in my portfolio responsibility, is that people want stability. At this time, they want to see a government continue with its economic plan, as Malcolm Turnbull has clearly laid out. They do not want the risk of going to Bill Shorten and his union mates, and we saw his desperate tactics, Bill Shorten's desperate tactics the other day with the Medicare campaign, which has been blown out of the water by the AMA.
Bill Shorten today is going to be saying that vaccination records might be sold off to private providers under a coalition government. Will vaccinations records be sold off?
Look, this is just another scare campaign from the Labor Party. I mean, we saw just the other day them saying we're going to privatise Medicare. Well, hang on, then comes out the AMA president says that's just ridiculous, as well as Kevin Rudd's hand-picked advisor on health reform back in 2009 saying exactly the same thing. So, look, we know that the Labor Party is desperate. They don't have an economic plan. They said they'll give it to us 100 days after the next election. They're opposing policies that they actually support in the past, like company tax cuts. We're actually putting forward a whole range of policies to create jobs and growth across the economy.
So in terms of privatisation of Medicare, of course, Malcolm Turnbull said that'll never ever happen. But in terms of outsourcing certain sections of the Medicare area, whether it's vaccinations to private providers or whether it's back-end resourcing and financing and those back-end records, that will never occur?
Well, the Prime Minister's made it absolutely clear in every statement that he's made that we are going to retain within government that capability to deliver these services. We're always trying to deliver them better. The Australian people would expect us to do so, but we're not about to privatise Medicare or the outsourcing of the relevant services. In fact, we've got a great story to tell about Medicare, because under the Labor Party, bulk billing was at 79%. It's 85% under us. Bulk billing's got up to record levels. Under the Labor Party, spending for Medicare was at $17 billion. It's $23 billion under us. It's likewise with the PBS. We've nearly tripled the amount of drugs that we put on the PBS. We've nearly doubled the amount of money going to the public dental system. We've got a fantastic story to tell on health, and we'll continue to tell it all the way to polling day and beyond.
Minister, let's turn to your portfolio. The Queensland Labor state government yesterday bought a $7 million parcel of cattle farm land. This land, a lot of the pollution leaches down into that northern part of the Great Barrier Reef. Is this an indication that the state government there feels that the federal government is not doing enough in terms of that coral bleaching, buying up parcels of land in order to try and mitigate it themselves?
Not at all. In fact, it's a partnership between the state government in Queensland and the federal government. And we have our Reef 2050 plan, which will see some $2 billion put aside for various activities. Now, the Prime Minister and Greg Hunt, the Environment Minister, have announced that we'll set up another $1 billion fund to actually provide greater support for emissions reduction and to improve the water quality in the reef. So we've actually been lauded by the World Heritage Council, through UNESCO, for the way we have protected the reef. This is an extremely important issue to the people of Australia, and understandably so, and we've been dealing with the bleaching, and climate change is a threat to the reef. So we will do everything we can to protect it, and we have been commended for doing so already.
Are you concerned about reports just from a couple of days ago that potentially $1 billion in tourism revenue might be lost, with tourists saying they don't want to head to the Great Barrier Reef if that coral bleaching still exists?
Well, the Great Barrier Reef remains and will continue to remain a wonderful tourist attraction, creating, I think, more than 70,000 jobs directly in and around the reef and the tourism and the other activities that it provides. So we'll continue to promote the good reasons why so many people from both Australia and around the world should come to the Great Barrier Reef.
Finally, Minister, we've heard from the NBN Co's first CEO, Mike Quigley, speaking about and rubbishing the fibre-to-node technology, rubbishing the Turnbull government's approach to the NBN. What is your view on that?
Well, firstly, we have connected more people in 1 month than the Labor Party connected in 6 years. Now, the Conroy and Quigley plan clearly failed. I mean, they missed 1 million premises in terms of their connection targets, so they missed them. And there was a big cost blowout. In fact, you had contractors downing tools in 4 states because of the way the Labor Party and Quigley conducted themselves over the NBN. So alternatively, we're doing extremely well. We have got more than 2 million premises that have the NBN available. People are responding in kind. I think we've got a very good story again to tell, whereas the Labor Party created the biggest infrastructure mess in Australia's history.
So fibre-to-node technology is still the best in your view?
Well, 83% of people are downloading 25 megabits per second or less, so people are actually very pleased with the new technology that we're providing, and our technology will get there sooner and cheaper than the Labor Party ever will.
Okay, Resources Minister Josh Frydenberg, great to see you. Thanks so much for dropping in.
Nice to be with you.
40 years after Britain's first voted to join the European